Welcome to the Devils Down Under, recapping another week of news related to Manchester United that's just gone by. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Man United's finally made a signing, as well as ongoing talks with a few other players like De Jong and Anthony and Martinez. The team's taken off for preseason training today as well, which is exciting for the Asian fans. Don't get to see Man United as often, being on the other side of the world. We've also got Pereira, a potential bid of him moving on, as well as Cristiano Ronaldo issues there. But we'll get all into that now. So on with the show. So thank you very much for joining us for another episode of the Devils Down Under. It's been a very busy week for Man United this week. We've made our first signing, Malacia from Feyenoord in a 12.9 million euro deal, or pounds, sorry. Very good business in that sense. He's a person with a lot of potential. I think he's only 22 years old. Showed great attacking intent through the season. And he's going to provide pushing Luke Shaw. I feel this is Alex Telles out of the door. So we will see if that transpires. But yeah, Malacia. Man United finally got a signing, so that is very exciting. Now, I just want to waffle on a few facts about him and why I think he is going to be pushing Luke Shaw and hopefully ousting Luke Shaw throughout the season. Pretty early in the season, I'm hoping, to be honest with you. The main stats that really stand out for Malacia, especially playing last season in the Eredivisie, is his passes. He completed 1,818 passes in the league last season, and that's obviously playing 32 games for the season with an 86% pass ratio. He also had an expected goals per game based on his shots and everything like that of 3.19 goals per game expected from his shots and chances that he has in a game as well, from an attacking fullback perspective. Now, we'll put that up against Luke Shaw, who is our first choice starter left back at the moment. His expected goals per game in the Premier League, not counting all the other European competitions and all that, is 0.18. So there alone, we're already looking at a 3.01 different expected goals per thing to just show the different contrast in attacking intent that these two players have. Now, Luke Shaw did only play, apparently, about 10 fewer games than Malacia last season, but his passes were only 935, and this is opposed to Malacia's 1,800. So stark contrast in hopefully the way Ten Hag and obviously the Dutch football IQ looking to progress the ball instead of knocking long balls or and things like that. So yeah, very exciting for this player to be joining us this year. And hopefully he can oust Luke Shaw pretty early on. I wouldn't mind Luke Shaw as a backup, to be honest with you. He's very good, obviously. Few injuries here and there and a few lapses here and there. But we do need someone that can provide what Telles should have provided of what he could have been doing what he was doing in the Portuguese league. Didn't really transpire. So yeah, happy for hopefully Telles to move on, get a bit of quid for him, and Malacia to step in. One of the quotes that really stood out from me, and this is the mindset that this player's coming in with. So yeah, good to see the mindset. Basically, he was quoted as saying to Man United TV, he said, when he was asked by Stuart Gardner, the host of Man United TV, is basically who have you looked up to in Man United growing up, and he goes, well, look, yes, Patrice Evra. I love his style. Everything is fast, energetic, everything. And then basically quizzed further on like what inspired him to look at Patrice Evra at Old Trafford. He says, yes, I want to eclipse him. I want to do even better. I know it's going to be difficult, but I set the bar high for myself. It's what I want. So yes, a player who's coming in with high ambitions, obviously striving, he knows Man United's that step up, which it is, coming from Feyenoord and the Eredivisie, but setting that bar really high. If he can even get 50% of what Patrice Evra was, he's a player I'd be happy with. 50%. Luke Shaw, Alex Telles wouldn't be able to even tie Patrice Evra's boots. Luke Shaw, maybe able to get one boot on, but not really both. So yeah, there's great competition and it's a good mindset moving forward with him. In other news as well, to help offset that and keep everything cash flow neutral for the Glazers, apparently Fulham have put in a 10 to 12 million pound bid for Andres Pereira. Now, preseason Pirlo looks like he's finally moving on from the club. He stated his desire to stay at, I think it was Flamingo, where he was on loan last season. Obviously, the deal fell through earlier in the summer transfer window, but I don't want him to be another preseason Pirlo again. Get all the fans' hopes up, and as soon as the season starts, back to playing shit, basically. So yeah, it's good to see. Hopefully, he is able to be moved on and make a bit of quid for the club. And it just shows you players on very modest wages, we can move on. You're taking people like Wan-Bissaka, Eric Bay, Phil Jones, even players of that ilk on quite a decent salary for their ability, at least. Very, very difficult to move on, as we're finding out in this window. And I think it's got a lot to do with the salary Man United's playing and then having to probably pay the player off just to do a transfer, which is not in the model of the Glazers and Manchester United, at least currently, and what we have seen over these last 12 years. So yeah, hopefully we get a bit of quid for Pereira, moving on to Fulham. Now, the other one I wanted to touch in, there's a few things that have come in for transfer news that have transpired over the last week. So apart from the De Jong, I'm not going to talk about him. We're still negotiating. Apparently there's issues with Barcelona owing him money from his contract, which is back-ended due to the financial issues they've had. Man United would have known about this a long time ago, but apparently this is what's holding it up in terms of what's he willing to accept and whatnot from that to make this transfer go through. Yes, there's news of Chelsea coming in, but I think, well, look, I don't want to say anything else on it at the moment. Chelsea have got Champions League football. We don't. They're a better run club than us. We're a shambles. The only thing we have at the moment is Ten Hag. So hopefully he's been in his ear, and if the deal does go through, hopefully he chooses us over Chelsea, because I tell you what, it would piss me off if Chelsea get him. Yeah, well, we've spent now 3 months trying to bloody work it out. I don't even know. I've given up trying to keep count of how long it's taken to sway him, and we're still no closer to it. With 2 weeks down in pre-season training, it's going to take him a while to get into it. But I'm going to move on, because I can ramble about that for ages, and I don't want to go down that road again, because I'm sure you guys have had enough of that as well. So, players that we've been looking at in the last week as well. Another player from RB Leipzig, who is from Ajax, surprisingly, is Brian Brobby, a striker. RB Leipzig are apparently willing to offload him for around that 12 to 15 million euro mark. Now, as a backup striker, 100% go for him. He's not a bad striker from what I've watched a little of him in the Champions League, as well as when he was playing at Ajax. I signed him on Football Manager. He was a wonder kid 2 seasons ago. So, yeah, look, glad to see my scouting's paying dividends for Manchester United finally. But, yeah, look, that touches nicely into kind of where Ronaldo is looking. Basically, he's been absent for the last this week from training, where all the international players have come back to training. The club is stating personal reasons. I'm not going to get into that, because obviously if it is personal reasons, we'll all look like right twats, basically, accusing him of trying to engineer a move away from our club. I don't think that he's not trying to engineer away from the club. He's trying to see ambition. We've signed a 12 million euro signing, backup left back currently, and we're into the halfway through July come the end of this weekend. So, yeah, I can understand him wanting to move. I won't hold it against him, as I said last week. That's 50-50 whether I see him moving at the moment. I would obviously hate it to see him move, especially if it is to another Premier League team. Obviously, and the reason you'd be doing that is purely because they're showing more ambition and a chance to actually win silverware where he doesn't currently see it, albeit we have a new coach with a new style of play, hopefully to be implemented. He knows that we can't trust these players, just like many of us Man United fans know we can't trust these players. yeah, it'll be sad to see him go if he does go. But yeah, he hasn't boarded the plane to Asia as part of the 31-man squad. He's not going to be part of the Liverpool game Tuesday, which is the 12th of July, I'm pretty sure, against Liverpool. And there's rumours coming out he's not even going to be part of the Australian part of the tour, which takes us right up until, I think, the last week of July. So if he is going to be missing from that, it is a fair chunk, especially for Ten Hag to kind of judge, yes, he's a world superstar and he'll be starting in my team no matter what, especially with the kind of drabble that we have at Man United up front. But to play Ten Hag's system, for Ten Hag to know how he fits into his system, it's going to be a very, very delayed start if he doesn't take part in this tour. And be difficult not to start him, but also at the same time, basically, it's going to hinder us, I reckon, tactically, having to adjust the way we play. Or not play, basically, and not being as fluid if he does start the season as well, with only a week or two training with Ten Hag before the season kicks off. But yeah, look, I hope if it is personal reasons, I don't want to go into it because obviously that's very personal for him, and I can understand him not wanting to join up with the team. It is for me, it's just obviously very weird timing in regards to he's probably known for a while. Gave Man United the benefit of the doubt, hopefully they'll sign some players, which we didn't. Very early on, as a statement in 10, where we said we probably needed those 5-6 players coming through the door and giving enough time for Ten Hag to embed them in our new tactic and system for the season. It doesn't look like we're going to get anyone besides Malacia through the door, at least in the next few days. Yeah, saying Ericsson has chosen us over Brentford, apparently, which is good news. People are saying that he's not going to oust Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a very different player to Bruno Fernandes. He retains possession really, really well. So Bruno Fernandes, especially last season, showed that he can be quite wasteful on the ball. Yes, his goals and assists are through the roof, but Ericsson is a very silky operator. Obviously, he trained with Ajax, and he knows Ten Hag to an assist to an extent when he was training with Ajax, when he was looking to get back into professional football after the incident that occurred earlier last year. But yeah, a very exciting signing if we do get him. He's on a free. And yeah, hopefully provide more competition for our midfield in the attacking sense. Still doesn't look like we're looking at anyone in the defensive sense, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest with you. But I think we'll leave that because there's a bit too many things to cover. Otherwise, and I could be talking on here for a very long time if we do go down that road. So I'm not going to do it. And then also, one player that... Look, he's 28, 29, Paulo Dybala. He's on a free transfer. Wanted him a few years ago, and we couldn't get him. Paul Pogba was one of his best mates, and even he couldn't convince him to come to Manchester United at the time. So my thing is, Pogba's gone now. He's about to sign for Juventus again on a free. Again, money down the drain again. Very injury prone. Apparently not. This would be, I can see this being a Manchester United signing, not a Ten Hag signing. Very good player on his day, and I do say on his day because that is far and few between from all reports from the last season or two, especially with the amount of injuries and staggering starts to the season he's had in the last few years. So he's a player I would love to stay away from. But there are rumours coming out that he's willing to sign for £100,000 a week. Now, if we can get him for that price on a free, with a minimal sign-on fee, I'd say yes. For a 2-year project, fine. We're not going to be able to get all the players we can get. I'd love him to be a bench option. Obviously, he could start in a few games here and there. But he's not someone I'd be as my first, second, even third choice. I'll take Robbie over Dybala. Small fee for him as well, but work ethic, bit of a workhorse as well, knows the Ten Hag system. RB Leipzig play the pressing football as well, so I would prefer Robbie over Dybala, but obviously we'll see whether or not they decide to either back Ten Hag or Man United go down the same path where they sign players for the name status and lead us into mediocrity as it has been for the last few years. So yeah. Obviously, other things moving forward. Martinez looks like he's tossing up between Man United and Arsenal. Hopefully, he is swaying more towards us from all accounts. But our last total that went in for him, I think, was around 50 million euro, which has been rejected by Ajax. They want a bit more. Again, it becomes a very tough question. I talked about it last week in terms of Torres, Pau Torres from Villarreal, or him. I still think I'd prefer Torres, just for his experience. He's 24. He's someone I can see being a starter straight away in our team, and is a left-sided centre-back as well to play on the other side of Varane. Martinez, obviously, yes, he's a bit of a utility. Can play left-back, centre-back, and defensive midfielder. Also only 22 years old, 5'9". As we was delving into the stats with Malacia, looking a bit of his, he had a really good season, very good headers won per game, especially at 5'9". I think he's averaging right up there with Maguire. But also, tackles, he's a very tenacious person, and he's well known in Holland for being a very, very strong in the tackle. So, I mean, that would be welcomed, a little Vidic. I'm not going to say he's Vidic because there's no one can replace Vidic, at least in my books. So look, hopefully, if we could have to go much higher than 50 million euro, I'd probably sway towards Torres. If we can get him for that 50 million euro, 50-55, I would like probably to get him because it leaves a bit more money in the coffers as well to get other players over the line. But we'll see what happens with that, and hopefully the board decide to back what the manager wants and what he wants to implement. So, but I am getting a bit wary with the amount of Ajax players we're chasing. Holland, the Netherlands national team, a lot of players good on paper as well, but not really doing it on the world stage in terms of winning things. So, obviously, we've got a sprinkle of Ronaldo, sprinkle of Fernandes there, Varane. We've got a few good players there, but there's not very much quality that we've got in the team, and we're looking for starters, not backup players. Because if we have to start with the team that we started with last season, the year before that, again, this season, nothing's going to change. So we need starters to come into this club. I don't see Martinez at least starting off being a starter. Torres, I do. But it all comes down to money and where we do have other priorities within our budget. So, look, it's we've got the tour, obviously, in Asia. Liverpool, Tuesday. And then we've got a few games in Melbourne as well as Perth against Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Melbourne victory as well. It'd be good to see the guys down in Australia. It's been raining, but at least they'll enjoy the weather in Perth where it's a bit warmer. So it is still a bit of warm weather training for them, at least down there. Good luck for them. All I can say is for that. Hopefully we can start seeing this pressing, playing, as well as passing tempo that Ten Hag's looking to implement in the first few games. I'm not expecting miracles against Liverpool. I reckon, though, even being a pre-season, I still don't see us winning the game. But as the weeks tick on by, I am looking hopefully at those other games, the back-ended games in Australia, for Man United to at least show tactically what we're about, and if these players that we currently have, especially if we're not getting new signings at the moment, coming through, can handle Ten Hag's system. And it also may put pressure on the board if they can't. Because if these players can't play what we saw with, what's his name? They came in. German maestro guy that came in and took over our season. I'm having a mental blank. He's just taken up the Austria job. We've had him as our manager. Look, you know what I'm talking about if we are. But anyway, he tried to implement a pressing system. For the first 45 minutes of his first game in charge, we had it. And then we died in the arse. So if these players do it again, obviously we've got a few games for them to test it. If it looks like they can't hack it, that's a signal of intent for this board to get behind the manager and start making some bloody signings. Looking forward to having the boys down here. Obviously, it's always good to have quality clubs coming down to Australia. It's good to promote it down here. And we'll see what happens in the next week. Hopefully a few signings here and there. And hopefully some positive news on Ronaldo, because I can't see us getting that world-class striker to take his place at the moment. Darwin Núñez is gone. Haaland's gone. So one more season of Ronaldo would be very beneficial to Manchester United. thank you very much for your time and joining me in. Please like and subscribe down below. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys next time.